Collective, welcome. I'm Nikki, your local vegan terrorist. So we're going to do a quick collective check-in, but first I wanted to answer a question that I get asked a lot, and I'm sure a lot of people that don't ask me are thinking, what the hell does veganism have to do with tarot and vice versa? Well, tarot is one form of divination, and divination is only looking outside of yourself to confirm what you already know within. All right. Veganism is also a very similar thing, okay? Because if we look outside of ourselves and we are a free thinker, we use that information to confirm what we already know, what we already knew. And divination and veganism both bring us back to our inner child, to our truth, all right? Before parents, society, schools, churches, the conglomerates, the industries, all of these entities around us started to fuck that up, okay? And started to distract and detract us from ourselves and what we already know to be true. So I find a lot of veins of truth between the two, right? Plus, it was a fun name, right? Because people comment on my choice of name, vegan terrorist, right? Because vegans are often called terrorists. And so for those of you that get it, you know. And for those of you that don't, that's where all of that comes from. That's why the two, for me, seem like a seamless interconnect. They both are about a form of anarchy, all right, against the systems that would otherwise try to divide us from ourself, from each other, from our nature. And I predominantly, because I believe that there is a selection of the collective that are meant to come into union so that they can truly contribute to the collective. They can truly give back. Now, there are some that don't subscribe to the twin flame journey, and I understand why, because there is a lot of miscommunications about it. But again, look outside of yourself only to confirm what you already know to be true. Okay, if you're looking for signs and synchronicities, you will find them. Okay, but decide what signs and synchronicities you're looking for, and then they will be confirmed. If you're like, I don't know what I believe, I don't know what I'm looking for, right? Then you're going to you're going to receive a lot of information, and you're going to take it as gospel. All right, gospel meaning truth, doesn't necessarily mean in a biblical context. I was going to say connotation as well. So we are going to do a reading because I did, I'm doing the cardinal signs right now. I did Libra and Aries yesterday. And I'm going to do Capricorn and Cancer today, but I have to plug into some Wi-Fi to upload those. Excuse me. I will also be doing lives on Instagram, because then those just automatically upload. And I can just use my data, and I don't have to wait hours for it to upload to YouTube. So I will probably post this to both if I can, depending on the length. I want to keep this one kind of short because it is kind of like answering a question. But in your mind, okay, because there are people who are on individual paths, all right? They are not really looking for twin flame connections, and I don't necessarily believe that everybody is here for a twin flame connection, right? There are those that know they are. There are those that think they are, and those that want to be. So I'm going to read for a universal twin flame connection. And if you're here for that, cool. If you just want to confirm that maybe that's not your journey, that's not what you're looking for. Maybe you are on an individual path, or you're on a community path, right? There are people who are celibate. There are, none. There are, we'll just say, spiritual individuals in all kinds of cultures and religions that aren't interested in, or they just know their truth is not about being in a partnership with somebody else. It's a partnership with themselves and the divine, which all of us should have that, right? That's when we come into the twin flame connection, the twin flame union. And that's why there is a separation. That is a truth about twin flames, right? There is a separation depending on what you believe, because I'm a relativist, right? Whatever you believe is true. Your reality is the truth that you operate under. So if you believe that, we have past lives, or you believe that we don't have past lives, then your journey with the twin flame is going to look like you meet them. There's a separation period where you have to go and realize it is actually about the self. It's always about the self first, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot know your truth if you haven't sat with yourself, and if you are reliant and codependent and attached to siphoning truths from outside of yourself, okay? This is the Queen of Swords, in the masculine energy, which is somebody who is very much convicted in their truth. This is someone who says no is a complete sentence. And they're very discerning as well, right? It could be an air sign feminine that's here. But the masculine here is seeking a feminine, and will only pursue a feminine who is in this righteous, not self-righteous, right? But in this righteous energy of setting boundaries. And see how her hand is open. So she's open to listen to others. And I was just having this conversation last night where, I've had it a bunch of times, but I was just having it last night. And where it's individuals who are convicted, when they are secure in their convictions, like a Christian should be able to listen to tarot and not be flabbergasted. A Buddhist should be able to go into a Catholic church and not feel flabbergasted. I don't know why flabbergasted is a word, but you should not be offended by somebody else's truth, unless somebody else's truth is harming others and exploiting others and doing cruel things, right? And in that case, this is someone who stands up for truth. So there are universal truths, right? Like, it's not okay to harm others. But then there are, that's an objective truth. But then there are subjective truths, like what classifies or constitutes harm. And that's for you to decide. But in veganism, and I see this a lot, the vegan debates or carnists, right, jumping into vegan reels and saying, that's bullshit, bacon, and they make all their comments that are very low vibrational. There's no dialogue there. There's no conversation or exchange of ideas or curiosity there. And I have interacted with people who are curious about it. And then they're like, yeah, well, that's just not for me. Okay, well, tomato, potato, right? But those that are offended by somebody else expressing their truth are clearly not confident or confident in their convictions, right? So this masculine is not here for, Two of Cups. They're here to unify, and this is a masculine who believes in love. This is someone who is romantic, but they also lead with intellectuality. Because masculine is of the head, feminine is of the heart. We all have the same ingredients, different recipes, okay? And the Fool, Aries and Aquarius. So we have a red lion. Isn't that a grocery store? Maybe somebody is a delivery driver. But it's also special delivery. There could be a pregnancy involved, because I am seeing a stork flying in. But this could also be some sort of gift, all right, some sort of tangible gift that's coming in. Maybe somebody just ordered something and it's arriving at your door, all right? And if this is about your person, then you already ordered them, right? When you incarnated, you ordered them. The moon and the magician. Yeah, this is a feminine who alchemizes with the moon energy, all right? You might do a lot of moon magic, right? Spell work and ceremonies around the moon. Two of Wands. Yeah, that is movement. That's a choice being made to come forward. The High Priestess. And the High Priestess in this deck, I did burn her when I was saging. I was saging my deck, and I burned her. Well, this is someone who trusts their intuition. See, if you trust your intuition, your hands should be able to be open. So there is something here about a feminine not trusting their heart space. If you trust your heart space, if you trust your intuition, and your ability to discern, right? Because she's clarifying the Queen of Swords. Feminines, if you trust your ability to discern, then you're not going to get burned by new endeavors, whether that be in career, personal growth, or in love. You're not going to be burned because you are smarter than you were before. You have learned the lessons. Like, just remember that you are someone who is very powerful. The High Priestess is someone who is completely connected with Source. There's no... they see the truth, all right? It's Piscean energy, which is the third eye. So, yeah, you may be, like, doom scrolling, watching too much blue light, because to activate this, all right, you're going to activate your third eye, your pineal gland. You need to cleanse it, okay? So there may be some calcification there. Now, that can be from all things you consume, from what you're looking at, all right? That's like if you're looking at a lot of news or, which is never new anyway. It's such an oxymoron in itself. It's a singular oxymoron. This is not someone who remembers. Like, remember yourself. And her wings are made of this heavy metal, which is, you know, kind of the antithesis to that idea of something coming in. Like, you need to make yourself light again. So what is it that tapped you into that? Maybe you're not playing, and that could be in your dreams. You could be having really difficult dreams with your third eye. Piscean energy is that they are the dreamers with the moon magic. So somebody could need to maybe do like a dream journal and re-tap into, you could be someone who astral travels or used to have the capacity to lucid dream, but something that you've been doing has been pulling you away from that truth, pulling you away from that ability and that divinity. That is a divinity, right? It's called divination for a reason, because it's of the divine. So don't be scared of it. Because the rest of it, everything external is like fear-mongering. It's just to divide us, okay? So just don't look at that. Don't look at it. Look within. All the answers you have are right there. And this is like someone who's afraid to go on a date because they think that they're maybe going to deal with a narcissist again, right? And yes, narcissist is a hot term. It's something I use because I've been using it, and I discovered it before the whole wave of narcissist. Everyone's a narcissist. Narcissist is it's the ultimate false magician, okay? It's one nomenclature, one identifier for Satan, the devil, the false magician, right? The grand narcissist pulls us away from our humanity. It is lacking in empathy. By definition, someone with NPD is lacking empathy. Empathy is what makes us human, okay? So even some spiritual teachers will mislead us into this ego death, this point of we're supposed to lose all attachment, we're supposed to lose all of our ego. We have an ego. Deal with it. Deal with it. Literally. You learn from your ego. You learn from your emotions. You don't want to release all of those things that make you human, because then what are you doing here? The Ace of Pentacles with and see, there's like this, there's something healing here, but the star's upside down. So it's like worry that a connection is going to bring you imbalance in your health, because it has before. But if you're looking at the past, or if you're moving forward with fear of the future, if you're moving with this lack mentality, then you're not moving in love, and you're only going to attract more. Like attracts like. So if you're in this fear-based state, like, remember, you're a powerful ass dragon, like Shrek. Oh, you're a girl dragon. I feel like the feminine needs to remember that you are a fire-breathing, large wingspan creature of the night. Like, remember who the fuck you are. Ace of Swords. And this looks like a Queen of Swords too. Like, she is from the crown all the way to the ground, all the way to her roots. So this is a realigning your chakras, right? From the ground to the crown, from the ground to the crown. This is how we connect with Source, Sagittarius energy, the crown chakra, Jupiter. And the crown is divine. It represents the king, right? The king, if you look at it in biblical terms, because I was having a conversation with someone who was referencing biblical terms. All right. And I come from a more varied perspective, but it was a really beautiful conversation, because neither one of us were like offended by the other. We were just like, wow, we're basically, and I've always said this, we're all talking about the same shit. If you look at all the different religions, all the different cultures that practice them throughout time and space, depending on what your practice is and your beliefs are, we're all talking about the same thing. Okay. Unity. And that's why the divine union, the twin flame union, is something that I am focused on here, because I am one of those. And I believe that, again, not everybody is for that, but those that are struggling in this world, because we are so divided between masculine, feminine, and that means male, female, that means macho and, simp or whatever. It's like this duality exists as a combination of the two. All right. Duality in all things, duality, balance in all things, balance, light and dark. It is not light versus dark. It is not good versus evil. It is all of it together. So togetherness is, it's kumbaya, motherfuckers. But this is someone who receives information, and it is very rooted in their truth, all the way to the root. Saturn energy. Saturn is Satan, the devil in tarot, and it is Capricorn. Okay, so Sagittarius to Capricorn. So maybe checking your chart, your planetary alignment, you might be needing to just sit with yourself and sit with each of your chakras. All right, you can imagine them as balloons, colored balloons, according to whatever color you choose, or you can just go by the rainbow that they are, and you can breathe into them. Do some breathing, expand them to their fullest capacity, and sit with that. If there's a discomfort when you're breathing into your sacral chakra, okay, what's that discomfort there? What's going on in my sexual creative energy? What's going on? Where do I have Scorpio placements? Or what placement is in my, what sign is in my Pluto placement? So just kind of looking at the correlation between the zodiac signs. That was weird. It's 9 a.m., but I looked at it and it looked like zeros across the board. There's something about like coming back to a neutral point, and neutral is balanced, right? That is true divine. It encompasses all things. It's not one or the other. It's not this versus that. We are all the same ingredients, different recipes. So let's start cooking, yo. There she is. Thank you. This is a high priestess, to clarify, the high priestess with her arms open. With arms wide open. It's like creating a new creed, right? Your own creed, which could be like a mantra or affirmations, doing affirmations work. And there are different affirmations that you can apply to each of your chakras, to realign them, to confirm them, that it is safe to expand to your full capacity, because you may realize, oh, my breath feels a little shorter when I do solar plexus. That means I'm not feeling inspired. That means I'm not feeling that yellow, that bright, sunny energy of igniting my heart chakra, because that's what's next. Your heart chakra is the sun and the moon. It is how we connect. It's the masculine and feminine. It's the divine celestial bodies of masculine and feminine, the sun and the moon. Total eclipse of the heart, right? Because that's the only time where the earth, the ego, the physical, the tangible is out of the freaking way, and the sun and the moon can just look at each other and be face to face, which means that they are fully illuminated. They are in their fullest, brightest expression of themselves. And only when the ego is out of the way. Doesn't mean that we just kill the earth, right? It just means it's out of the way. It's still there. We're aware of it, okay? And when it's in the way, we can recognize that, and we know that we're maybe in a phase of waxing or waning, all right? And there are always going to be those periods of lull where, like in a new moon, when we don't see the moon because it's completely covered by the ego, that's when we have to have the full faith that the moon isn't gone. It's still there. It's still right there. It's always full. It's just not illuminated by some external source, being the sun. So it's knowing yourself, and this is really important for the feminines, because feminines really do lead the way. They guide twin flame connections from the 5D into the 3D, and then the 3D is where the masculine takes over, and they activate this union, and that's where it goes from the twin flame journey into the divine union. All divine unions are twin flames. Not all twin flames come into divine union, depending on what we do with our ego. Some of us want to get rid of it completely. That's going to be a lifelong journey of detaching yourself from your humanity, and who wants to do that? Death to clarify this. Yeah, this is, again, Scorpio energy, and I really was stuck on that, like your creativity, your sexuality. So there's something about, maybe you gave your body to a lot of different partners, or could have just been one partner, right? It only takes one, but it could have been more than one, right? But I feel like you gave your sexual energy, you gave your creativity away, and there's a need to remember, like, see how they're looking at themselves? They're cloaked. It's almost like my armor. They're armored up with this cloak of invisibility. You can move through the world and you're still present. All right, you're still present. You're still just bones, skin and bones. But it's like looking at different versions of yourself, past versions of yourself that need to die. Like, they need to just be laid to rest. They're still there. You're still a skeleton underneath all of this. And this cloak is not a barrier. This cloak is a divine protection. And maybe that's something that can be incorporated as a part of your mantra, is that I am divinely protected. I am divinely protected. You are safe to love. You are safe to move forward. And giving yourself the grace to, people say forgive yourself or whatever, but sometimes you didn't do anything wrong. It's not that you need to forgive yourself like you did something bad or you're sorry. It's like, you know what, little me, I forgive myself for sacrificing myself. I give myself grace for just being human. So it's not so much like you did something wrong and you need to atone for it. It's mostly just giving yourself that grace to move forward with it and go, yeah, but that was part of what made me realize, you know what? I need to cloak up because I was too exposed here. And that's okay. Because to be so exposed and to be vulnerable and to lay your bones bare in front of others, regardless of what they do with it, your truth is in that you are someone who is vulnerable, someone who is willing to lay yourself bare. Four of Wands. This is the Divine Union, 1111. You could be seeing, again, maybe 1111 isn't a number that you see a lot. I'm a Life Path 4. I've always seen 1111 before. Again, before it was like 1111. I saw it a lot. And I would see things in fours. And so you could be seeing sequences of 4. You could be a Life Path 4. But the 1111 is I mean, maybe somebody, November could be important to you, right? Or to this connection. But this is basically for the divine union, you have to be in a divine feminine, divine masculine, the emperor and the empress, okay? The emperor and the empress are both magicians, okay? So we've got Aries, Capricorn, Virgo, Gemini, Taurus, and Libra in those major arcana, all right, in the emperor, empress, and the magician. The thing about all of those is that, in all major arcana, is that, what is the thing? Is that they are elementalists. Okay, so they wield all four of the elements. They build up their empire. They're not just born into a kingdom or a queendom. They have collected them. Okay, they have collected these, this information. They have collected these tools. They have these natural, elemental gifts to alchemize a new truth, right? And they alchemize from the throat chakra. That's where the magician alchemizes from. So in order to speak a truth, you have to know what a truth is. So the only way you know that is by sitting with yourself. And that means relieving yourself, and it is truly a relief, relieving yourself of all the bullshit, all the external bullshit, okay? So, yeah, I feel like somebody needs to detach from some sort of cycle of looking outside themselves for information. It's called information for a reason, because it's inside. So you have it there, and the only time that you should look outside of yourself, or when you look outside of yourself, because we have to move about our days in a human way. We don't live in a little bubble. And maybe you have been, and there's a need to get out into the world. And just don't be offended by what you're seeing, hearing, and all of that. It should not make you question. It should just confirm what you already know. And yeah, this is the two coming together, and this person's exhausted. I mean, it's a long journey. It is tiring. It is challenging. People of faith, of whatever your faith, whatever you hold faith in, someone who is convicted is going to be challenged more than someone who is not, right? The closer you get to God, the closer the devil gets to you. If I can speak, that would be great. Because you're onto something. So the more that you speak a truth, the more haters you're going to get. Okay, so that's what the devil looks like. That's what the antagonist looks like. Yeah, the person I was having the conversation with last night, they said that Satan meant the accuser. So it's like people who want to accuse you. It's like when you are in your divinity, when you are in your truth, you don't need to accuse anybody else. You don't need to make other people wrong for you to be right. You're just like, okay. And that will piss people off more than anything when you don't fight or you don't try to and I do see that a lot for the vegans out there. When you get those bacon or those, that feedback of like this very low vibrational stuff, don't give into it. Leave them sitting there in silence, okay? Because to those type of people and to that type of energy, all attention is good attention. They don't care. It's like they're taking from you. Don't let them take from you. If they want to put bacon, okay, whatever. But don't let that be the thing that makes you offended. Don't let that be the thing that makes you question yourself or lower yourself to them. Yeah, soulmate. Ooh, hell yes. And this is the full energy here. This is someone taking a leap of faith. And it is a leap of faith. Every time we got the 10 of Cups, the star, Aquarius energy, but that's star in the upright. So that is someone that's healing. There's healing. 10 of Cups is the most love you can give to any other person outside of yourself, outside of agape love. But the only way you can truly love someone else is to love yourself. Okay? And I know that probably just sounds very corny, bumper stickery, but there's that Sagittarius energy again of the crown. This is trusting your faith. There's red wings again. Red Bull gives you wings. This is energizing. and see how they're like fueling back and forth. I get like a water wheel. They're getting energized in their spirituality. They're levitating because they've done this healing, and they've got that robe there, and the triangle again is very important. That golden triangle right over the heart, because that is the Holy Trinity. Okay, me, myself, and I, body, mind, and spirit, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, whatever you call it, it is ultimately the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and the divine creation. Okay, on a very human biological level, that's what it takes to create a human being. That's what it takes to co-create energetically, is masculine energy, feminine energy. That does not mean boy, girl, baby. Okay, that means divine masculine energy, which is active energy. All right, which is fire and air. It's the head, it's logic and action. Feminine energy, which is water and earth. All right, it is stability and nurturing. All right, it is the emotional, it's the heart. So again, same ingredients, different recipes in all of us. We all got it. Trying to deny that or trying to be all one or the other is going to make you imbalanced. It is not a state of homeostasis. So for those science geeks out there that need that kind of nomenclature to resonate with them, homeostasis, that is the biological, physiological representation, measurable representation of balance. And then we have the Knight of Wands, more Sagittarius energy. This is someone who's focused on their intention, and they're coming in. Now, if they were presenting in any other way without all these other cards here, without this other energy, I would say, this is like, I often call this like the fuckboy energy. They're here for a good time, not a long time. But this feels more like the individuals themselves have this focus and a curiosity, because Sagittarius is a very curious sign. They like a lot of different information, and they're like always hungry for more. And that's the kind of thirst for truth that you need to be activated toward and focus on. And then we're going to finish it out with the Magician, the divine alchemist. This is the one who creates a new truth through their throat chakra by utilizing all four elements, which makes them the fifth element. Lilu, motherfucker, which opens the portal to, and we did have the Five of Swords here, which I did not mention with the Queen of Swords. This is not needing to be right. Again, this isn't a right or wrong. It's, okay, we're talking about different things. Now, you can have conversations with people, and somebody cannot be right for you, and that's okay. But you can still have the conversation. You can still have the exchange. You can still be curious about it. Because getting more information about an opposing stance on things, whether it be veganism, whether it be political stance, whether it be about religion, all right, whether it be about relationships, it's all information. Needing to clutch onto every single person as like that need for validation or the need for them to be wrong so you can be right is absurd. And that is what all of those divisions that the grand narcissist, the false magician, the magician in the reverse would be, is the one who wants to pull us from each other, pull us from ourselves. And again, if you don't love yourself, you can't love others. If you don't balance your heart chakra, which is the center of your 7 chakras, we have more, but we're talking about the 7 main ones. Let's just keep it simple, okay? The 7 main chakras, the heart is at the center of them. So if you don't balance your future, you don't balance your past, you don't balance your intuition and your ego, all right? Your upper and your lower, your feminine and your masculine, right? If you don't balance your 3D, your 5D, then you won't be a 4D being, which is the Hierophant. That's the spiritual leader. That is somebody who is attuned with the 5D and the feminine, and they translate it and teach it to the 3D. Okay? And with the High Priestess, the High Priest or the Hierophant is, they are like a divine pair. All right? Their work is in that. And I did mention like nuns and spiritual leaders and monks and people like that who, a relationship with another person is not necessarily their bag of chips, and that's fine. They know that that's not their purpose or their calling. their calling is to have that relationship with self and with source so that they can translate it to others, so others can have that relationship. And then through that relationship, that internal relationship, can you start to explore and move that energy into something like the 10 of Cups, to have an out of body experience. It is kind of like that when you take that leap of faith into love. There isn't really a risk involved. If you truly love yourself and you know your convictions and you're discerning, there isn't a big risk here. You're just getting information, and then you just let them go with love and light if they're not for you. And when your person is there, the hearts will match. The hearts will match. And that's where you will connect. But you can connect with people in the heart space and not with the physical body. You can connect with the heart space here, and you don't have to be in love with them to love all, right? That's what agape love is. So hopefully there was something in here for you, a confirmation that you were seeking. And hopefully that clarified some questions that people have about this space. And if you would like more individual readings, I mean, you can, in the description below, you can find out how to get a personal reading if you want a private reading, personal reading. And if you would like me to do like career readings or more individual readings, I am doing sign by sign readings, but those are for the Twin Flame Collective. So if you would like other readings outside of the Twin Flame Collective, go ahead and leave it in the comments and put it out there, so that we know that's what you want. Because otherwise, that's what this space is about. Because I feel that is very important for those in the Twin Flame Collective to alchemize that reality and come into union, because this world is like, it needs those that are that are called to come into that union and alchemize spaces, create spaces, and hold spaces for others to learn and to be guided into self-love, agape love, so that they can create as individuals, or so that they can connect with their person, their divine counterpart. But this collective needs that kind of and anarchy is what it sounds like, right? Which is absurd that the truth is anarchy. And we'll see if this video gets canceled or not. I was going to keep it short, but hey, it is what it is. I hate when people say that. But in this case, it is just exactly what it is. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your support, your likes, your shares, your subscriptions, your donations. They are all very much appreciated, so that I can continue to do this work while I'm on the road, while I am in pursuit of my divine path, which, when in union, will go back to the collective, as they all should. So I think that's it. Until next time, I wish you well.